a 64-mile gravel bike race. I'm excited to try this. My first bike race, gravel bike race, and I've kind of put my cross on hold in order to explore this gravel thing a little bit. And to be honest with you, my schedule for riding has been horrific the last couple weeks. So I think I've only been out a total of 4 times in the last 2 weeks. So that's frustrating, but I feel good about today. I had a couple beers last night and was not minding my hydration in the days leading up to this event, so just building my catalog of excuses. Since this is my first gravel race, maybe some of you with more gravel racing experience could comment on things that you do prior or your pre-race check. I'd love to hear some routines or critical gear that you carry with you. So I have my flat kit, some food in that little bag, and then my water bottles. But for 64 miles, that's about it. If you like what we're doing on this channel, exploring racing, trying to get new people to try bike racing, yeah, go ahead, please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Please leave a comment, share the video. We are doing a bunch of giveaways, so if you go to theweatherneck.com, there should be, if I'm still doing it by the time you watch this, there should be a link for giveaways. Friends, it's almost race time, and I will say that I was told half this race is gravel, the other half is pavement, roughly, which is a bit of a bummer because I have these big giant tires on my bike, and I really wish I had thin tires. I bet, I have not been on this trail for 1 second yet, but I bet that I could have easily done this race on a road bike and sacrificed a set of tires, and I think I'd have been just fine, at least today, because it's a beautiful day. At Railway Roubaix, 64 miles of mostly gravel, flat day, gorgeous weather, should be fun. Oh, they're talking. All right, let's go racing. All right, I'm gonna take the whole shot here on this gravel race, 64 miles. I've never done a gravel race before, so I didn't really know what to expect. So it's obviously not a super competitive whole shot, but my thought process was maybe it makes sense to jump up to the front and then push the pace just for a little bit to kind of shock the system of anybody that's hanging on the back, so we don't bring along a whole lot of extra weight with us if we can help it. So in years past, we used to do a very crowded group ride, and we just couldn't shake people. So that thought was running through my head. Like, if you give people a chance to hang on, they'll hang on a long time. But if we can blast them off the front right in the beginning, maybe we can get a selection straight away. You will notice that the power meter does not line up exactly with the video. I don't know. Hashtag Garmin. So my whole shot was a little different power, and obviously I'm doing more than 260 watts right now being in front of the group, but I think you get the point. So like I mentioned in the car right before the race, the thought process here with the tires, I just have this like deep-seated dislike of these big fat tires, I guess. I don't know why. But I thought, I think my theory was right. I totally could have done this on a road bike, and you will see a couple of the guys going by here that did it on road tires. Let's see, there's one of them in particular. It's going to end up winning the race. I think that'll go by here. Anyway, a couple of those guys, not sure which ones, had road tires. So as the day went on, I became jealous of the road tires, but such is life. So we had a good group. We started pace lining, really cooperating. The wind is going right to left across your screen, I'm almost positive. So maybe it's left to right. Yeah, it's left to right. Sorry. So I did notice a huge discovery with the fat tires. Okay, so we hit a couple spots here in a few miles, and I thought, you know, because of pace lining and because of this unpredictable terrain, that part was awesome to have big tires, because I didn't have to stress out about finding exactly the right hole to get through a puddle or mud spot, or even sandy or loose soil. It was fine. I had a big fat tire. So that was when the big fat tires kind of won me over, is that I didn't have to stress about it in a group. However, in this race. I will spend a significant amount of time on my own, and certainly would have liked to have a snappier feel on the bike. But again, I did not set these up tubeless, and that honestly could be a huge difference maker, but I didn't get it done. All right, now we're going to jump up a few scenes. So this is my friend Alex in front of me. I'm going to, hopefully Alex can handle this. I'm going to give him a little critique. See how he's turning his head every 3 seconds? I cut some footage to make it worse than it really was, but he was very concerned with giving me enough space. And so my advice to Alex would be to be way more selfish, because he's not getting any draft being on the left-hand side there. And he keeps spending a lot of energy turning around and looking at me. After the race, he said that he had a really hard time getting his heart rate down, and this is the reason. Another rider that wasted a lot of energy was this young man. Now he's the only junior in the group, did a brave ride, but nonetheless, you could feel the stress emanating off him by riding with him. He was just super stressed. So hopefully, and bouncy, really bouncy in the saddle. I'm not sure if that bike fits him just right yet or not, but in any event, a good example of wasted energy. I thought I'd throw that in there just for people watching, not to pick on those people. Hopefully they're not upset about that, but anybody else can learn from those mistakes. This is interesting. Look at my little Garmin button on the left, on the button on the Garmin 1000. It's all bouncy. Weird. Okay, anyway. So now we are 10 miles into the race, and we're going to get into some pavement. Now, this was a relief when we first hit it. I thought, oh, this is good. This is more my speed. I'm a much happier roadie than I am a gravel guy, but it's okay. So we had a little moment here to chill out. Everybody got a little bit of drink, a little food. Well, I don't think anybody ate, but we had a good group. By then, the selection was made. There were 10 of us up there, roughly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, probably 10. And we lost a few people right before we got, or right after we hit the paved section. So, such is life. Now, I was going to show you who won, but that's okay. We'll see him later. So, so the interesting thing on this course, like I got the recon ahead of the course that there was a lot of pavement. Well, that's cool, but nobody really told me about these hills we're about to hit, and we're about to, well, I'm looking at, this is about to hit the first one. So the way this race worked is you had to stop in these 2 checkpoints, and you had to get a smiley face on your paper plate to prove that you got there. So this is our first smiley face, and then we are getting back on the road again, and I got the first smiley face, which was great, because that gave me time to get this thing out of my pocket, which I had pre-opened. That was smart. That's a little fruit roll thing I stole from my kids. And now we're going to hit this hill, and I'm looking at this hill like, holy crap. I thought this was a flat gravel race. I didn't know we were going to be climbing hills. So, yeah, good to know. Now, we had a little bit of a gentleman start here. We waited for everybody to get their smiley face, and then we took off again. So, now this is where the race actually got really interesting. So, further up that hill, pounding big watts. This was starting to hurt. I was starting to feel cramps at this point. And I knew that if I pushed just that 10% harder, it was going to be really ugly. This is the person who ended up winning the race. So he is on road tires. He has a Stork bike, sponsored by Stork. And he ran a great race. He did a wonderful attack we're going to actually have the footage of here shortly. So this is another hill or 2 later, and this is where the race falls apart completely. So we're all in a big group here, right? And then I get my tactical mistake here. I don't know if I'd call it a mistake, but there's a split, and I thought, oh, okay, I better cover that. So I go across, and I feel like that may have been ill-timed, but hindsight's 20/20, because I think I went a little out of my skin. Again, the power doesn't line up, but it's probably in that. It's got to be higher than that at this stage. And you can see the Stork guy. He's just rolling off the front. Easy peasy. He's not a violent attack or anything, but he's just rolling off the front. And it's going to prove to be very fruitful for him. So I get this group, and then I quickly fall apart, and I cannot hold that. I cannot hold that wheel. So I end up in no man's land for a little while on this hill, and you can see the hill kicks up yet again, and that second kicker is what really got me. So then a couple folks behind connected with me, and I traded with them for a little while. One of them was super strong and did a lot of the work, and I tried to come around and help, and I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have just tucked in and held on for dear life for a little bit. This is that little group. So I believe that's Mike in the bright yellow bike up there, bright yellow Trek. He's just running a great race, really strong. And then after a little while, I end up by myself. So lots and lots and lots and lots of this. So this is, yeah, the distance starts over because I turn the Garmin camera off and on. So some of those, I don't know why it works. Oh, maybe it works sometimes and not others. I don't know. So about this point in the race of a 63-mile race, about mile 40, probably 38, I'm by myself. Now this is me flipping around to see how much mileage is left. You could see 21 miles left and then more time of this. So eventually I see this rider off in the distance and I thought, oh, okay. Now I'm going to fast forward this with clips, but oh my gosh, this took forever to catch this rider. Forever. So we get to the final 3 miles, and then he pulls up, we pull up next to each other, we're chit-chatting for a little bit, and he says, so we get to the last mile, and he says, are we gonna fight this out, or are we just gonna roll in with even time? And I looked at him, I said, no, we're gonna fight it out. I'm pretty confident in my sprint, so I felt good about that. Now I started pulling, and I'm gonna stay on this side to try to gutter him and make him do a little bit of work. There, now I'm on the correct side to make him do some work as we head into the finish. And unfortunately, this is so sad. Unfortunately, I did not get the finish. I don't know why. I swear my camera was on. But the way this race worked is you had to put your paper plate in the bucket to win. So we're screaming into the finish. I have a huge sprint. I was surprised I had any power left. I won the sprint clearly. And then I hear, put your plate in the bucket, put your plate in the bucket. Slam on the brakes, and I go skidding past like a good 10 feet. And we run back to the bucket, and my friend puts it in there before I do. So I did not get 6th place, I got 7th place. And I was so cramped up, you're watching me, unable to move at this point. I could waddle to get out of these guys' way, and then I'm just spent. Oh man, I don't know if I've ever been that sore after a race in my life. So sore, so stiff, so crampy. But great race, had a lot of fun. The gravel thing, it was fun. I mean, the finish was just amazing. I'm just so upset I didn't get that on my camera, but such is life. So also, if you're noticing, I got a drone. I'm super pumped about that. So hopefully we'll have some more cool shots coming. So yeah, it's a fun vibe. You know, the after party for a gravel race was more fun than an after party for a crit race. There was drinking, hanging out. I don't know why that doesn't happen in crit races, but it doesn't, and I guess it kind of bugs me. I wish it would. So the gravel race thing, super fun. Again, my legs are torched. So I think for training, I think for racing, it's great. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's my vibe on a weekly basis, but it was fun. Like I said, a lot of hanging out, a lot of talking, a lot of goofing off afterwards. So we had a blast. All in all, it was a really fun day. It was a great race, well organized, nice and safe, no issues. Had a good one.
Bit nuts though.
Was it?
I wasn't expecting you guys in the first group just to go boom right off the start.
Well, I guess that was my fault, maybe.
Really?
I was in the first one in the front. Felt okay.
You're a jackass.
I thought we'd get rid of some folks, so that was fun.
Yeah, we're sitting back here and she was going, and all of a sudden I look ahead and you guys are way down the road.
Really?
And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.